It's the JT Cho Show!
10, 9,
Welcome back, everybody, to the JT Show. I'm your host, JT. This is episode 31 of the JT Show. Today is Monday the 18th. You know what I did today? I canceled my tire rotation because I was like, I need to shoot this podcast, and I didn't feel like sitting in Discount Tire with it raining outside. Currently in Michigan right now, it is raining. It's been raining all day. My dogs are like, holy moly, I don't want to pee outside because it's raining. So what I did for y'all is I just went and got a quick coffee. It's a Frappuccino. I saw this video on the internet and I was like, hey, I gotta try it out. Those little Frappuccino Starbucks things loaded with sugar, don't drink them all the time because they're bad for you, but I'm gonna treat myself. I'll tell you why I'm gonna treat myself here in a minute. And but continuing with this, you stick that bad boy in the freezer for, I heard, a couple hours. I saw a video on the internet. It said, hey, put this motherfucker in the fridge for a couple hours. You take it out, you shake it, it comes a Frappuccino. Cut's calling bullshit. I'm worried that the glass might crack too, so I put it in a slot that you can take out and wash. So right now, hey Google, how much time left on the timer? You know, Google playing games with me. You're embarrassing me in front of my friends. Hey Google, how much time left on the timer?
You've got 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 21 seconds to go.
Okay, so I got plenty of time. So, you know, I'm going to post that on my social media, pushing JT of Jville, Twitter, Instagram, all that other junk. Again, thank you fans for listening. Switzerland, Ireland had a couple downloads. I had a spike for a day, and I want to thank Nick Minerath. He's the host of his podcast. It's called The Cape Cod Kid. You can find it on Apple and others. It's about his progress going through from community college basketball to where he's at now for professional basketball. He's playing overseas. He's got a great breakdown of his personal experience. I met the kid in a geography class in community college. I saw him on the courts, but I didn't know him, and then I sat at the same table as him. And he's a great dude. Go check out his podcast for sure. We're here to talk about some sports today. We got a lot to talk about. I wanted to shoot this yesterday, but I read this article on Yahoo. You know, I'm not going to say I read an article and not give credit where credit's due, because, I mean, that's like sleazy shit. That's almost as bad as like cutting and pasting it. But before we start out, I want to talk about treating yourself. So it is Miracle May. We have been eating healthier. Cut and I, I'm finally doing the app thing. I'm doing MyFitnessPal. You can get it on the App Store for Apple at least. You enter on all your calories every day. We're calorie counting. I'm running. I did 8 miles by accident the other day. It's not that I don't know where I live at, I just took the wrong way and I wasn't paying attention. So instead of just doing 4 miles, I ended up doing 8.5 because I accidentally ran all the way down the wrong road. And the only way to get back is to run, and I'm not going to walk, and it's, you know, quarantine, so I'm not going to call anybody. Like, let my sweaty ass breathe all over your vehicle. So I ended up running 8 miles because I'm stupid. So... but, you know, I'm starting to run more, starting to get back in that runner shape. I know I'm fat, get off my ass. I'm fresh out the shower, looking as good as I can right now, growing this stupid-ass goatee. If you're listening to the podcast, I do have a YouTube thing. Just go to my Twitter, JT of Jville, and you can find it from there. But, yeah, you're getting me fresh out the shower. And then if you notice, this is one of the walls I painted when I moved into my house. I really like that design, so I just wanted to do a podcast right in front of it because I think that's pretty fucking cool. So some things that I want to talk about today is Aaron Rodgers' reaction. I kind of want to talk about a little bit NFC North football. I'm going to review a movie at the very end, so if you don't want to hear it, I'm going to save it for the end so you don't have to skip it. But I'm going to talk about Marriage Story at the very end. It's a movie that I just watched on Netflix. And then I also, you know, I took notes because this is kind of like a bigger issue for me. But the very first thing I want to say is last JT Show, I was talking about Derrick Henry, but I kept calling him Mark Henry. And I kept thinking of Mark Henry, the world's strongest man, from the days, you know, when I was a kid and I used to watch the WWF and E or whatever, and I don't watch it anymore. Tom Segura is roasting fans right now. I used to watch a lot of wrestling when I was a kid, though, growing up, because, you know, you get caught up in the entertainment. As an adult, I just don't give a shit. whatever. They're great performers. Okay, it's a great soap opera. Got lots of drama. I don't pay attention to it anymore. If that's your thing, cool. I'm not here to diss you. All I'm saying is I kept calling Derrick Henry, the running back for the Titans. I kept calling him Mark Henry. So Derrick, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sorry. I do that a lot. I call Russell Westbrook Russell Wilson, and because they're both Russells. I don't know. I just do this thing in my head where I hear Russell, and then sometimes the first thing out of my mouth is Westbrook instead of Wilson. And for some reason, I did it with Mark Henry. That's the level of dumbness up here, okay? I always tell people this. I'm the dumbest person you'll ever know with a master's degree, okay? I do. It's hanging on the wall. I'm not going to show you. Believe me or not, if you know me, but the dumbest person you know with a master's degree. So, let's jump into it. Aaron Rodgers finally came out, said in a little interview more than he said at all about the draft of Love to the Packers. Now, it breaks my heart, but I still love the man. Summarizing what he essentially said, he's saying things like, this has nothing to do with Love. I mean, he's a quarterback coming in, but this is an organizational decision, and he said he's had great reports with his backups over the years, and he expects to have the same thing with Love. He's also saying things like, it's every player's dream to finish and start your career with the same team, but that might not happen, and he might end up somewhere else. But he respects, he was shocked. He said he was shocked. Shocked was one of the words that was in it. Shocked. He said he was shocked, but at the end of the day, they're building the future, and I'm sorry that they're building the future without Aaron Rodgers, and it breaks my fucking heart because I love Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to tell you 100%. If Aaron Rodgers goes to a different team, you best bet your ass I'm going to be getting a jersey or a shirt from that team just to support Aaron Rodgers. I do the same thing with Brett Favre. I have a Jets jersey and I have a Vikings jersey just for Favre because I love Favre. I love Rodgers. So if Rodgers finishes somewhere else and plays into his 40s like he said he might, I'm glad. Good for him. He deserves it. What a career this man has had. I know he's only won one Super Bowl. Me and Cut are going to debate top 5 players of each sport when he comes and visits. That's less than a month away, by the way. We're going to be podcasting. We're going to be streaming video games. We're playing Star Wars Battlefront on the Xbox. We're just going to beat a whole campaign for you. We're going to sit down. And we're going to just have a good time. Me and him are both doing Miracle May, which is our Sober October, which is, if you ever listen to the Joe Rogan podcast, that's essentially where that comes from. So, lots to come in the future. But Aaron Rodgers, what a classy man he was. What a classy response. He wasn't like, this is bullshit, I demand a trade, which he could have. Aaron Rodgers could have demanded a trade. They still might cut him to save a ton of money. Who knows? I don't. I love the man. I hope the Packers give him as much time as he wants. I know Love, they're saying, I forgot what analyst it was. He said that Love is going to win more Super Bowls with Green Bay than Aaron Rodgers. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it turns out. But Aaron Rodgers, he's a class act. I know a lot of people give him shit, say he's a terrible person. But, with that interview and how he's covered questions about COVID, I think he's a pretty respectable person. I don't know him personally. Just, I love him. I might be a little biased. I love Aaron Rodgers. I love the Packers. I like the Lions. Sticking with the NFC North, Stafford, there's some trade rumors with him, with Tua. Never happened. He's happy. He's in Detroit. He's selling his house right now in the greater Detroit area. It's like a $6 million mansion. A lot of speculation around that. And then you got Trubisky and Foles, and you got this mock draft where the Bears drafted 14th overall, and they got their quarterback of the future. Like, I've heard that before. All I'm saying for that is, first of all, it's way too early. And second of all, I guess the quarterback with the most security right now is Kirk Cousins of the Vikings, because they traded for Cousins, and I know Cook was unhappy, and he left. And so basically he went to the Bills, But I think Kirk, I don't know how long he's wrapped up for. I'm going to look it up right now. I'm looking it up live. Like I said, I do take notes. Man, sorry. Dead air. But who would have thought... Who would have thought... oh, shit. It wasn't Cook. It was Diggs. Stephon Diggs. I'm a fucking idiot. So, Diggs was unhappy with his lack of getting the football. So he got traded. But right now, the most security, I guess, for a quarterback in the NFC North is Kirk Cousins. You like that? You like that? So... a lot might happen this year with the NFL. Who knows the outcome? I don't. I'm just saying that it's weird. Anyways, a lot of dead air there. That was weird. Read an article last night. It's pretty cool. An esports player, he won the top Madden NFL tournament. Did not throw a pass. Okay, so he played this tournament, Madden. His defense was the scheme of the Miami Dolphins. His offense was the scheme of John Gruden. Spider Ride to Banana. So he had John Gruden's offensive scheme, which is a run heavy. A lot of users have complained about Madden 20. I'm not a Madden player. I haven't bought Madden since like 2012. My friends have it. Maybe I'll get it eventually. Hopefully 2K comes out with a football game again. I might pick that up. I'm a big fan of 2K. 2K Golf's coming out. Big fan of them too. But this guy named Radel, nickname Joke, Brito, I think is his last name. He ran the ball. Did not throw a pass a single time. So essentially how this tournament worked is it's kind of like a draft, but you can use all-time players, but you have a salary cap, of course, to make it fair. He drafted for his quarterback. So, man under center, not your Tom Brady's, not your Drew Brees, not your Aaron Rodgers, not your Peyton Mannings. So, you see right now, like, I'm listing, like, a bunch of people who have, proved their worth. I know Aaron Rodgers only has one, so you're probably going to knock this example. But people are already saying, like, Patrick Mahomes is elite. He's a very good player, and I'm super happy he got his first Super Bowl. Andy Reid deserved it, all that jazz. But he's won one. I know Aaron Rodgers has won one, and Patrick Mahomes is an athlete, and he'll probably win more. But you can't compare. He's not on the same level as Brady, okay? He's athletically talented, and he might be the best quarterback in the league right now, but Tom Brady has a career like no other quarterback. He's the GOAT for a reason, so you need to chill. Not that you can't pick him for this game, but I'm just saying, like, there's other quarterbacks of all time. Like, if you put Patrick Mahomes as the greatest quarterbacks of all time right now, you're dumb. He's got a young career, and he'll probably finish in the top 5. Easy. That's my prediction early. But as of Monday the 18th of 2020, the greatest quarterbacks of all time, you do not list Patrick Mahomes because he's still got a long career to go. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? Anyways, so he drafted all these players. Frank Clark for the pass rusher from Kansas City, and then one of the ex-NFL safeties, so a pass player, Taylor Mays on defense. So he loaded his defense. He loaded his run game. I took notes. I'm trying to remember who was his running back. Gale Sayers, who had a short but good career in the NFL. So Gale Sayers was his running back. And again, a lot of users have complained that Madden 20 was too heavy on the run, meaning like it was easier to run. So he just kept stuffing it down their throats. I saw top 5 plays from the tournament on Twitter. Just fucking stuffed a goddamn ball down their throats. Played some good old-fashioned 1930s fucking football. And it broke my fucking heart watching this because it's like a goddamn flashback. I know I'm swearing. I'm really excited. I'm glad we're doing this podcast. But the reason why it broke my fucking heart, is because it reminded me of the NFC Championship game of Green Bay versus San Francisco when Green Bay couldn't stop the fucking run. If Green Bay could have stopped the fucking run, I'm not saying we would have won, I'm just saying we would have had a better fucking chance. But San Francisco's scheme with their blockers and their tight end packages and the way they ran the ball, they just kept stuffing it down our motherfucking throats. And they ended up going to the Super Bowl. And, you know, you see your team go to the NFC Championship and you're like, oh, we're so close. And then they don't make it, you know. It's heartbreaking. Super heartbreaking. But yeah, so he won the entire tournament without throwing a pass with a punter, like I said, with 30-year-old Washington Redskins punter Tress Way. So you got a punter at QB and you win the Super Bowl. Now with Derrick Henry, not Mark Henry, Derrick Henry. That's essentially what the Titans are doing right now. They're loading their line. They've got a good defensive core. They're taking Derrick Henry and they're handing him off the ball. And Derrick Henry's an unstoppable goddamn machine right now. So that's what the Tennessee Titans are doing with an actual quarterback from Tannehill who used to play for motherfucking the Miami Dolphins. So sorry for that weird voice. I don't know why I did it. But all I'm saying is the actual Titans right now are doing the same goddamn thing. So it's crazy. It's crazy that running is like the Packers are moving to a more run prevalent offense after all these years of Aaron Rodgers throwing 40-yard games. Matt Stafford's throwing a lot of fucking 40 pass games, you know, not 40-yard games, but 40 pass attempts. Like Matt Stafford's had I don't know, someone do the research, I don't give a fuck, but Matt Stafford has had to have at least 85% of his career with over 40 passes for the day. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Congratulations to Joke. You know, you'll never see this, blah, blah, blah. You don't give a fuck. But congrats, man, for winning the tournament. I think I like to watch Twitch, not so much. I'm more of a mixer, but I do watch a lot of highlights on YouTube in my like little spare times and here's and there's. I like to watch gaming tournaments. I like to know how much I suck compared to other games. I like to tips and tricks like Stone Mountain, Ninja, Dr. Disrespect. A lot of these people like are so good at the games. Like I wish that was my full-time job where all I had to do was get better at a video game, but I don't have the viewers, I don't have the time or the money. I am saving up for a PC right now. I'm building my new podcast studio. I've got actual projects to do, like my house. I just installed a new toilet, like I said, and by the way, I love it. But there's a lot of things on my end that, like, you know, I financially can't afford this and that. But, you know, if you sponsor it, you can be like, oh, this was brought to you by this product. This product is great. I could not imagine living without it. You know, like, sponsor me. You know, I'll wear a goddamn t-shirt. Beer companies, hit me up. Miracle May only has 14 days left in it. You know, hit me up. But yeah, so sticking with sports, yeah, sorry for the papers rustling. Sticking with sports, there's this Yahoo article written by Mo Costello. It was the top dynasties of sports of all time. Now, Mo, I'm not trying to disrespect your name, I'm just saying you're fucking wrong. And here's why. So some of them I'm going to talk about, some of them I'm just going to glance over. We're going to start with number 12. You can find this article on Yahoo. Just type in on Google. Go to Google. Don't go to fucking Yahoo and use their search bar. Or Bing. If you're using Bing, then just stop fucking listening to my podcast. But Google's going to take over the world, so you might as well let them know what you're looking up anyways. Go to Google, type in Yahoo Dynasties, top dynasties ever. But just include Yahoo in there, unless you'll probably go to like BuzzFeed or some other dumb shit like that. So, number 12, the Oakland Athletics team from 71 to 75. Number 11, the Cincinnati Reds from 70 to 79. The New York Islanders, I forgot to write down their date, so sorry, sue me, go to Yahoo, go check it out. The number 9 team of all time, Steelers, 73 to 79, Steel Curtain, all that jazz. They won, I think, 4. Number 8 was the Los Angeles Lakers from 79 to 91, and the teams to beat them the last 3 years were the Pistons, and the Chicago Bulls. So the number 7 dynasty of all time after that was the 49ers, you know, through their era of Jerry Rice and all, you know, all their great talent that's gone through there. Number 6. So here's where we're going to start talking about these teams. Number 6 greatest dynasty of all time, the Edmonton Oilers. Now, they won 5 Stanley Cups in 8 years. They won their last one without Wayne Gretzky in 1990. He won his last one with the Oilers in 1988. The Great One, Wayne the Great One Gretzky, had a tremendous time playing with the Oilers. They were very successful. He traded to the Kings, went over to Cali. They won one more without him, but they kind of ruled and dominated that era. The Red Wings in the 70s and 80s, they were known as the Dead Wings, and they used to have to give out cars to sell seats. They'd be like, come to the goddamn game on a Friday night. You got not shit to do. Please come to our game, You win a car, We suck, so we're giving away cars. We're fucking Detroit. Go to the fucking Red Wings game. So, they had to do gimmicks like that to sell tickets. But Oilers had a dominating franchise all the way up, probably like late 80s. Again, I didn't write down a date. I'm irresponsible. But, all the way up till 1990. The number 5 team, number 5, so top 5, New England Patriots, okay? We're going to get back to the Patriots, okay? We're going to talk about the Patriots here in a second. Number 4, the Canadians, 1970 through 79. So I'll get back to that too. The number 3, Bulls, okay? So let's talk about the Bulls right now. The Bulls, they won 6 NBA championships, 2 three-peats. Michael Jordan took a, elongated, I think, 18-month break in between the two. Yeah, I'm still watching The Last Dance. I didn't watch it live. I'm catching up. I'm on episode 7, so back off. Great fucking documentary, by the way. It's a very, Jordan had the final say, so it's a very Jordan positive. Even though he said you might not like him, it's a very Jordan positive piece. Really shows a lot of behind the scenes and what it takes to win that championship. But, you got Pippen, Jordan, Phil Jackson. You learn a lot. You learn a lot about basketball during that, too. It's pretty cool. They won 6 division titles, best record in the East 5 times, won less than 55 games 1 time during the 90 through 98, won over 60 games 5 times. Set the NBA record of 72 wins in one season when the Warriors broke that with 73 in 2015-2016. And, I mean, you got all your culture. It talks about it in The Last Dance. Go check it out. I'm not here to piggyback. But the Bulls definitely deserve to be up here. The New York Yankees from 49 to 62, they had all that talent come through the Yankees back in the day, and it's baseball, and they won a bunch of pennants. But the number 1 team was the Boston Celtics from 1959 through 1969. You got Bill Russell, big-ass motherfucker. He played without a three-point line. And here's why I'm going to start picking apart this list. The Boston Celtics, the Yankees, don't deserve to be as high as they are, okay? I'm happy that they won those times, but look at sports today, and here's my point. Yeah, they went 11 for 13, which if you do the math is 85%. Is 85% of the championships during that time frame, and they won 8 straight. But you had basketball where you had like the tallest motherfuckers playing for the Celtics. You had, man, I wrote this down somewhere, but I cannot find it on my paper. But essentially, you had, I think, oh yeah, here it is. In 1959, when they won their first, because here's the research I did. This is why I had to write it down, because I can't remember, because I'm fucking stupid. But you had 8 teams in the NBA in 1959. So you're telling me if I have a motherfucker over 6'10", and I only have 8 teams to compete with, I have a 1/8 chance to win the title? I'll take those odds. The NBA has 30 today. In 1969, when the end of this dynasty ended for the Celtics, I know that later on they had, the big 3. They had, KG, Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, Ray Allen. They had a ton of talent, during the Miami Heat, LeBron James days when he went over to beat you know, they were that good that LeBron James left Cleveland and did that dumbass press conference. Not mad that he left. Happy that he left. Hated when he plays for the Cavaliers. Don't really care about him anymore. Hate the Cavaliers. Pistons fan. But what I'm saying is, you know, they've had, Larry Bird, and they had their championships in the 80s too, but in 1969, nice, they had 14 teams in the NBA, so you only increased the amount of teams by 6, so now, again, 1 in 14 chances, essentially. You are 1 of 14 teams to win the title. I mean, like, shit. Like, that's why, like, I'm not trying to knock any of these organizational achievements, but, like, look at sports of what they are today. Contracts, players, powers in a lot of the players, you know. Locations, small markets, big markets. There's so much more in sports today. And one of the biggest issues about these early championships is, like, look at the teams that they're playing. Like, they're, like, a lot of these, like the original 6 in hockey, like, yeah, the Red Wings have a lot of championships. The Canadians have the most championships. You know, you had the Canadians, the Maple Leafs, the Blackhawks, and I might be wrong, the Bruins, the Red Wings. Gosh, there's one other team there. But the original 6, you had 6 people competing for the Stanley Cup still called the Stanley Cup. It used to be kind of smaller. The history of the trophy evolved. Go look it up. But you were competing with 6 teams at the beginning, and now, you know, you got a giant expansion franchise thing going on where the amount of teams and talent that you're playing is so much better than what it used to be. So the Celtics probably do deserve to be on there, probably top 5. But I think let's backtrack. Like I said, let's go to the number 5 Patriots. For 20 years, they were dominant. They had an 11-game season because of a stipulation. They didn't make the playoffs. They were simply dominant for the last 20 years. Tom Brady and Belichick, you know, finally split up, and he's in Tampa now. And, you know, we still don't know what's going on with that quarterback situation. But, you know, that's none of our business because that's the way that Bill does it. Okay, Bill Belichick, that's the way he does it. I think the Patriots are the best dynasty of all sports of all time because they were dominant. 6 Super Bowls. I think outright the Super Bowl is the hardest championship to win in sports today because it's a one and done. It's a one and done. It's so tough because, you know, in basketball and hockey and baseball, you play back and forth or home. So in, you know, baseball, you've got pitching matchups. Basketball, you've got home court advantage. Football, football, you do have home field advantage all the way up to the Super Bowl. But and then hockey, you know, you do have, you know, home rink advantage. But you can come up with different strategies. Like, you get blown out game 1, right? You get blown the fuck out. You can come back with a strategy to shut down how they beat you and then keep adjusting throughout the entire series of a 7-game series, and you've got 7 chances to win 4 games. In football, it's one and done, okay? You either figure it the fuck out or you're going home. It's, you know, it's punching your toughness through a 16-game season. You're feeling it at the end. If you're lucky and you have that bye, your body's getting rest. If you're a wild card team or not one of the top 2 teams, you don't get that bye and you're pushing straight through. And let's say your bye week was week 6 or 7. Well, goddamn, you haven't had a week off in forever, and now you're in the playoffs. Playoffs? Talking about playoffs? But that's why I think football is the hardest championship to win overall. But I think that the Stanley Cup's the prettiest trophy, though. You know, let's hoist that motherfucker over my head. But for 20 years, with the current with the current NFL and how many teams there are and all the great talent and everything that's gone through, and it's not like they've had top draft picks and, you know, all this miraculous talent go through. Like, Tom Brady developed Gronk. Gronk's a great player. Not saying Gronk would have never developed anywhere else, but, you know, he was a draft pick. Brady and Belichick both knew how to use what they had for offense, and Belichick kind of knew defense, and they basically, you know, when you hear about the Patriots, you hear about the Patriot way, how the Patriots play football. And for 20 years, they dominated the NFL. So I think that the Patriots are the greatest dynasty of all time. Number 2 is probably the Bulls. When you win 6 championships essentially in 7 years, you're dominating from 90 to 98. I know Michael Jordan took a break, but what if he didn't, you know? And winning 2 3-peats back, you know, they essentially won the same amount of titles that the Patriots did in 8 years. But but basically because the Patriots did it for a longer period, and they simply not that they took longer to win 6, that they just dominated. They went to the Super Bowl like I forget the stats and the numbers, but ESPN does it every once in a while. But they put quarterbacks in the NFL, quarterbacks in the Super Bowl for like the last like 15, 20 years. And it's like, for a while, I don't know the order exactly, but it's like Brady, Peyton Manning, Brady, wild card, Brady, Peyton Manning. Like, it was Peyton Manning and Brady for like 90%. It was crazy. All I'm saying is the Patriots, you got to put them number 1 overall. The Bulls, you got to put it number 2. And then you might think I'm a little biased right here. Your honorable mentions, Mo, were the 1990s to late 2000s Detroit Red Wings, okay? Now, if you count when they started winning their titles, when they started dominating, the Red Wings started to dominate in 95. They lost they brought over the Russians. Scotty Bowman brought the Russians over to Detroit. We started to reorganize who we're drafting. 97, we made the Brendan Shanahan trade with Paul Coffey and Keith Primu. I don't have that on my notes. I just know that because I've seen, fuck it, we'll do it live. But I've seen that, championship DVD so many times. I know, who we had on the roster. You had Mike Vernon in that. You had Steve Eisman. You had Sergei Fedorov, Vladimir Konstantinov, Slava Kozlov, Sergei Fedorov. You had simply so much talent come through. The 98 team, Vernon left. You had Osgood coming for the backup. He took a lot of heat in the playoffs. Vladimir Konstantinov that year, he had the accident where he got hit by he was in a limo, not wearing a seatbelt. He got into a car accident and basically could never play hockey ever again. Came back during the 1998 Stanley Cup Finals. He stood up, motivated everybody. Steve Eisman led that team to a second two back-to-back Stanley Cup championships with 2 back-to-back sweeps. We swept the Philadelphia Flyers in 97 and we swept the Washington Capitals in 98. And then a few years go by, we get eliminated from the playoffs. A lot of that core is still there. Shanahan's still there. Scotty Bowman's still there. Steve Eisman's still there. They got Hasek. Osgood went and played for the Islanders for a while. I was sad. I'm a huge Osgood fan. I love Chris Osgood. They went and got Hasek. Brett Hull came over. Luke Robitaille from the Kings came over. Again, I'm not looking. This is a movie from the notes. I'm just saying. They had a lot of talent come through for 2002, so 2002 was probably you want to win a championship this year? Let's do a 1-year contract with Detroit. And then after that, they ended up winning 2008 against the Penguins. They should have won in 2009, but we lost on some bullshit. But for 10 years, again, the Red Wings, they're an honorable mention. I think they should at least be in the top 10. I was on the mic with Cut. We were playing video games, and he was saying that, he used to roast this person that we knew because he used to say the same thing. The Red Wings made the playoffs for 23 years in a row, but sometimes they were one and done. I still think that's an accomplishment, though, because you're at least a playoff contender for 23 years in a row. So that's just one of those things, personally, where I think that the Red Wings should be maybe even in the top 5, but that's me being biased. They should definitely be in the top 10, but biased to me says they should at least be in the top 5. But that's what I have to say about the dynasties for top overall of all time. So before we get into the last part where I'm going to talk about the movie, let's talk about a little bit of video games. So golf's coming out. I'm pretty disappointed in the DLC pack. It's some Adidas shit. Who cares about that shit? If you pre-order now, you get... Man, look how terrible my hair is. Anyways, you get the pre-order pack from, by pre-ordering the game. You just get a bunch of stupid-ass clothes, man. I don't care about that. Why would I pre-order it for that, you know? Like, who gives a shit? Ooh, I'm wearing Adidas or whatever the fuck they're offering. I don't care about that. Your DLC for your pre-order is pretty garbage. 2K, just saying, step up your game. You'll never hear this anyways. But I'm really excited for the golf game. The Players Club, I think is what it's called. Essentially, 2K bought the rights from them. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be... I don't know how good it's going to be. I don't know if they're going to go back to more of the old ways of the controllers and how, you know, when you're playing Tiger Woods and you can go -12 for the day, whatever. Because the golf club is challenging. If you go play that game and use the master clubs, it is unforgiving. But we'll see how they do. We'll see how they do it. I think there's going to be a lot more brands in this one too. I like sporting brands, but like I said, we'll have to see how that works out. But your downloadable content is trash. This morning, on the 13th, I was playing. I played some Call of Duty after work. We play about 3 or 4 games before we go to bed. So I played with my coworkers. First game of the day, we got a dubski. I had 4 kills. Stan had 4 kills. Verdell had 2. So, you know, that's only 10 throughout the whole squad. So it's not like an overall dominance performance by our squad. But we still took first place. Where the circle ended and ended near a road. I was very familiar with the territory because me, Jeff, and Cut and one of his friends, I can't remember, one of Jeff's friends, we actually won another game almost in the exact same spot. So I said, hey guys, this is what we're going to want to take here because even though that's the high ground, the circle's going to close closer to us. Stan got a couple knocks with some rockets that he picked up because he had to come back late. And essentially, I looked at the scoreboard. You know, when you're looking in the top right-hand corner, you're like, oh, shit. Like, oh. I looked, and there's only 4 people left, and there's 3 people alive in my squad. We had no plates, but it's 3v1 with no plates. So I said, hey, guys, there's the last guy. We all see him. We just tagged him. Let's bum rush him. So I took out my little MP7. I went, rap, rap, rap. And then, you know, that was terrible. But I just basically smoked him. It's not even a burst fire, but I was just like, it's pretty far distance. But when I got close, got that final kill, we got the dubski. We should have had 2, but that last game we played, you know, I don't want to talk about it. Bad game. But video games, the way the video games are going to go today, I'm going to be streaming on JT_OF_Jville. That's on Mixer. I hate the underscores. I wish they let you do spaces, but, you know, the internet and the way it works, I don't know. But I will be streaming some Call of Duty or some Apex today. Season 5 of Apex just came out. I barely played Season 4. I am super far behind on the learning curve, the way you open boxes, Kings Canyon. But the reason why we're playing more is because of duos. It's just me and Cut. Just me and Cut a lot. We have Duck. We have Duckett come in. I like to call him Duck. His name. I'm not going to tell you his Xbox name. But he's, you know, he's pretty good. I have way better friends. Marsano. Shout out to Marsano. You're brilliant at video games, dude. Lone's just as good. They have a good crew. There are guys I met in the military. We call Lone Gandhi. But they're way better. They're so much better talent. But it's me and Cut, dude. We're like this, dude. We're like, you know, I'm like, hey, man, what's your favorite non-pornographic magazine to masturbate to? And he's like, Good Housekeeping. We're tight like that, man. I have other friends that are tight like that, you know, like Earl's tight like that. I have a lot of really good friends that I've met, but mostly I've been gaming with Cut. You know, me and Cut, we play a lot of video games with each other. We're doing Miracle May with each other, and you know, we try to see each other like twice a year. It's a little bromance. Okay, get over it. But you know, that's what a friendship is. You know, and one of the topics that we're going to talk about when he comes out are fake ass motherfuckers that you met. And, you know, don't be fake. Don't be a fake-ass motherfucker. Let's end this with a movie review. I like watching movies, by the way. I miss the cinema. I miss going to the movies. I miss popcorn. I haven't drank a pop, like I said, in months. I forgot when I don't know. I probably said it on the podcast a long time ago. I can't remember the last time I had a pop. And I know people, oh, it's a soda, but it's pop. Okay, we're in Michigan. Yeah, if you don't like it, then you can just get out. But I love movies. Look how dumb my hair looks. It's eventually here. It's eventually gonna come down. Let's just help it out. Let's just help it out. See, if you're not watching it, you're not gonna see the beauty of how I look fucking stupid. I'm trying to use this. Oh, there. Oh. Anyways, so I like watching movies, and I miss going to the movie theater. And look how dumb my hair is. And so, Netflix has been getting all these movies. Extradition with Chris Hemsworth. Pretty good movie. Good action. I'd give it a watch if you got some spare time. But to me, I really like Adam Driver. You know him from Star Wars, Kylo Ren. He's also been in Black Klansman. He's been in some other movies. I like his, I'm going to call it Rise to Stardom. He served our country. He did his time. Not saying that that's a specific thing that you need to do to become famous. All I'm saying is, thanks for doing it. And then you kind of read how he went to New York. He ate like a whole. He would eat very clean. He eat like a whole chicken and run everywhere he goes. And I like Adam Driver. So I wanted to watch the movie Marriage Story, starring Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver. So at this point of the podcast, all I'm going to tell you is, if you don't want any spoilers, I don't care about movies. JT of Jville, thanks for listening. Those are my hashtags. Twitter, if you want me to review a movie, hit me up over there. Hit me up on Instagram, whatever. But Marriage Story is a movie where Scarlett Johansson and Adam Driver are this couple who are kind of in the theater limelight, where Scarlett Johansson's character is the main actress in most of his plays, and Adam Driver is a rising theater director who owns his own small theater studio. Now, what happens in this movie is, at some point, you start out and you're hearing each character read letters about each other, of what they like about each other. So you're seeing this sort of flashback to their happy marriage. But then the movie starts out and they're in this counseling session, and Scarlett Johansson's character kind of seems like a bitch, okay? And I don't, sorry if you don't like the word bitch, but, guys can be bitches too. But at the beginning of the movie, you're like, wow, look at Adam Driver's character. He's super nice to the therapist. He's like, I wanted to do marriage counseling and things like that. And, her character was just being extra. But then you start to see the unraveling of why they're getting a divorce. So, Scarlett's character, she goes and moves out to LA. She's shooting this movie pilot. They have this child. And one of the biggest things that I can tell you right now is, if you're thinking about having a child to save your marriage, you should watch this fucking movie before you decide to have kids. Because this movie highlights the raw emotions. I know this is Hollywood and shit like that, but it really, and I'm fortunate enough to not know personally what it's like to go through a divorce. My parents are still happily married, and thank you guys for taking care of me and doing every single thing that you guys did. I know I got my ass whooped a lot. I deserved it. This is what you get, but thanks for my parents. I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm not the norm anymore. But this highlights the ugliness of a divorce. So in the beginning of the movie, there's all this drama building, and then Adam Driver's character is kind of more controlling, and he's like, look, we're going to get this divorce. Let's just do it between me and you. And he's kind of like, I'm going to say he's, what's the right terminology for it? Dragging his feet about it. So there's all this drama building, and then Scarlett Johansson's character, she eventually meets a lawyer who's played by Julie Haggerty, and by the way, another Star Wars actress, whatever you want to call it. And I because of Poe in the new movies, I fucking hated Julie Haggerty in Star Wars. She's the commander lady of the ships. I know there's more terminology for that, but she's one of the ones that she's basically telling Poe he's wrong and stuff, and you know at the end of the movie she gets a redemption and all that shit. But man, I was like, I hate this lady. Oh, sorry, no, Julie Haggerty plays the grandma. I don't know what the lawyer's name is then. But Julie Haggerty plays a great grandma. She's Scarlett Johansson's mom. And then you have Ray Liotta. I think he's the bad guy in Wild Hogs. That's not like what he's been in. But once Adam Driver meets his lawyer, which is played by Ray, and once Scarlett meets her lawyer, which is played by that bitch from Star Wars, it really starts to get ugly because lawyers know how to use the right terminology to get what their clients want. And originally, both parties just wanted custody to be laid out, and then the ugly side of, hey, this kid's going to stay in L.A., you're in New York. Like, Adam Driver's character eventually just wanted the family to go back to New York and live in New York, but he didn't really think about what Scarlett wanted. He never took her feelings into consideration. So kind of throughout the movie, you hate both fucking main characters because Scarlett Johansson's character is letting her lawyer fuck Adam Driver because he's still like dragging his feet, and he hires like a little home lawyer, and he doesn't have all the money in the world, and his character is kind of like this controlling asshole who just kind of forgot how to be a loving husband, and he cheated on her. Like I said, spoilers. If you're this far and you're like, oh man, I wanted to watch it, fucking spoilers. But there's a great quote in this movie I really like. It says it's said by Adam Driver's first lawyer. It's criminal attorneys see bad people at their best, and divorce lawyers see good people at their worst. So basically, they start airing out all their dirty laundry. It's like, when you've had a little bit too much and you're a little tipsy. Well, there's a part in the movie where Scarlett just served Adam Driver his papers, nothing really of it. She's like, and then she kind of takes a misstep down the stairs. She's like, oh man, I'm a little woozy. I had a few too many glasses of wine today. Hands him back the paper packet. Nothing ever happens to it. But once Adam Driver realizes that he's not going to be a New York family anymore, that this kid's probably going to stay in LA and how the things are going, he goes and gets Ray Liotta's character. And Ray Liotta's like, she was too intoxicated to take care of their son. And then they start asking for money. Like Adam Driver's character asked for Scarlett Johansson's money for her career that she just got for her pilot. And Scarlett Johansson's asking for grant money from Adam Driver's character. It's crazy. There's a part where Adam Driver's character, he breaks down in the law office. I think that's like a really important scene. He kind of just realizes that, the way that the American justice system is set up through divorces, 95% of the time, I'm just going to say, males lose. They pay the child support, they pay, they basically pay their wife's lawyer to, if a woman's getting divorced from a man, I'm not sure if it's the other way around, but if your wife wants a divorce, you're going to pay a percentage of her lawyer fees. So you're paying her defense to take more money away from you, and that's fucking crazy. I don't know how to fix it. I'm not a law expert, but I just think that's fucking crazy when you're paying her lawyer to fuck you out of more money. Insane. And then there's another thing, I got to look up if this is a real law, but they explain that if your significant other goes during a divorce and consultates with a lawyer and decides not to go with them, you yourself can't use that law firm or that law firm or specific person. You can't go and get represented by them because they've already consultated with your significant other. So if that person goes to town and they talk to the 11 cheapest people that you could possibly do, and they go with the person they want, you're gonna have to go find somebody you're gonna have to go find somebody else because you're not allowed to use those other 11 people. So sometimes they work that system to really fuck you out of getting represented, to the best of your abilities when it comes to, a divorce, which is ugly. So the peak of the movie, so basically what happens in the movie is you start to see this, they have a son together, he starts getting more mother attached not really appreciating the time that he spends with Adam Driver. He's young. Kids go through phases. So there's a lot of this. There's a lot of these things that happen where it builds drama for later, where like specific scenes happen and you want a character to explode, but they don't. And finally, when both lawyers are presenting in front of a judge, not in court, but just presenting their cases because they don't want to go to court, that's when the lawyers air out all the dirty laundry, and both characters are kind of just sitting there stunned, hearing how certain situations are twisted with the words of lawyers to make them seem like they're the biggest piece of shits ever, and they don't think that, you know, the other person could ever say that. So there's this moment where Scarlett Johansson's character comes and visits Adam Driver in his apartment, and Adam Driver's apartment is empty because he's owning or renting this apartment so he can be closer to his son when he's taking breaks away from his times in New York. And she comes over and she's like, hey, let's just do this between us. And they start bickering a little bit. And this is when some shit hits the fan. I'm not going to go through exactly what they say during the argument, but the argument and the raw emotions themselves, I really like how that played out. I think that's the peak of the movie. The ending of the movie deals with the letters at the beginning of the movie. Like I said, spoilers. So I think that's pretty cool. I wish there would have been like this little moment where like, when Adam was leaving for his kid, because we'll never know what happens at the end of it. I wish he could have left his letter because he never got to read it. You did hear what it said, but, you know, I don't know if she'll ever get to read it, so it kind of leaves it on this little girly, dramatic cliffhanger. One thing that I think is funny is when they were arguing about the kid, they had this little weird lady come over and observe both families eating dinner. So she comes over to Adam Driver's house, and she's talking about the kid's health. I think this is who it was. And she's like, oh, well, I don't know, you know, maybe flying back and forth for kids isn't so good, you know, like recycled air on an airplane isn't good. Like, she's like, someone says something along the quotes of, you know how many superbugs are in restaurants? And I think that's hilarious because now we're in the COVID and no one's eating in restaurants. But basically what I'm saying is, I know this isn't like the greatest breakdown of a movie, but I would recommend it. I would recommend watching it if you have the time. I'm not saying, you know, stop what you're doing and go watch this movie. I'm just saying I'm an Adam Driver fan. Scarlett Johansson, she's pretty great. She's smoking hot. Not to take away from your career. You're very talented. I'm just saying you're very pretty. But I'd go watch the movie, Marriage Story. It's on Netflix. Definitely go watch it. If you hated that, if you liked that, just let me know. Feedback's always good for me on Twitter, on Instagram. Hit me up in person if you know me. But JT of Jville's all my hashtags. We're going to call this a wrap. This is the JT Show. I'm your host, JT. Again, like, subscribe. If you're a sponsor listening, I'm open. I'll wear your fucking shirt. But hey, man, thanks for listening. Again, I'm blessed for my listeners. Please, you know, if you like me, share me with your friends. Say, hey, listen to this idiot ramble. But, you know, again, for all my viewers, thanks for taking the time to listen. T-shirts will be coming in. We're taking so it's going to be a picture. We're taking the picture in mid-June for my shoot. So at the end of June, T-shirts should be coming out. So late June, early July is when everything should be done, and the T-shirts will start being pushed out in July. To Peppers and V, I'll fly yours up personally to Alaska when I come visit. So that's all that I got for you guys, though. But again, thanks for listening to the JT Show. Signing out, Captain's Log.